Hey guys, before we start the video, I just want to remind you guys in celebration of Dwarves and Dinosaurs, you can enter promo code RedMaster and obtain the Warlock Academy Castle and 5 card packs. So if you haven't already entered a promo code, be sure to enter this code because, well, you'll get a good deal out of it for sure. So, that being said, on to the video.
I'm not alone.
What's up guys, RedMaster here. Welcome back to another video. Today, we are back into the Cars and Castles beta. I mean, I don't know if I'm back. A little iffy with my video schedule right now, but that's quite alright. If you don't already know, we did a dinosaur card review over on Monger's channel. Definitely check that out because today we're going to be going over all of the dwarf cards. And to help me, I have, as always, well, not as always, but Monger.
Hey, how's it going?
And Envy.
What's up?
Alright, so without further ado, we'll take you right into the first card. Our first card we're going over this evening will be the Dwarf Miner. Now, the Dwarf Miner is a 2 gold neutral card, 4/4 as a stats, and 2 movement. Now, for the dwarves, this is probably going to be one of the cards that you're going to be seeing a lot in dwarf decks, but it's because not only is it a solid early drop unit for them, but with all the spells that we're going to go over on later in the video, you kind of want to need Dwarf Miners somewhere on the field just so you can, play some of your spells and just so you can really get a dwarf deck going. I mean, do you guys have anything to add to that?
I mean, he's a very, very solid 2-drop. He's going to be good whether you play him on turn 2 or, any turn past that. Because he's a 4/4. I personally don't like 2 movement cards, so you're not going to see me be playing the Dwarves archetype more than likely, unless, I just feel like messing around. But it's just not my play style.
Mm-hmm. Monger?
Yeah, for me, I personally like the Dwarf Miner a lot because it's such a solid unit with 4 attack and 4 health for only 2 gold. This is almost always an auto add into my deck, like into any deck that I have.
Going that far into like an auto staple?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Alright, so with that being said, we'll bring you into the next dwarf unit, the Dwarf Paladin. Now, the Dwarf Paladin is a Crusader dwarf, costing 3 gold, 3/6, 2 movement, and has a combo of healing all allies for 1. Now, this card does appeal personally, probably to most healers. Maybe not at first, but the healing all allies for 1 thing includes castle, buildings, stuff like that. So you're definitely gonna get a heal for, well, I mean 1 obviously, but you'll get a heal all around, which I think is pretty good. Maybe, I don't know, as going as far as saying heal stall decks can include Dwarf Paladin, but definitely it's a great card for dwarf decks in general. Thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree. For both the Dwarf Miner and the Dwarf Paladin, it might not have a place in a straight archetype deck like Monsters or like Awaken or something like that, but if you have the room, it definitely does help. That it helps almost any deck that you can put it in.
I foresee this card being a very new player friendly card. A lot of people are probably going to gravitate towards this card. It has its home in dwarves, fits the curve perfectly.
It's only a rare too, so it's not that hard to obtain.
But as far as seeing it being played in other decks, I'm not sure. You're trying to combo out with healing up your buildings and your castle. You're probably playing dwarves anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was a good explanation of what Dwarf Paladin can do. And we'll take you right over to... Alright, so the next guy we have is going to be Grudge Bear. Now, Grudge Bear is the first dwarf card that branches out into the Viking faction, which is kind of an interesting direction to take dwarves. If you're kind of feeling like you're in the rampage mood, this is definitely where you're going to go, because Grudge Bear, 4 gold, in the, you already said Viking faction, 5/5 for 2 movement, and has a last will ability of giving your remaining dwarfs rampage. Now, this is probably the lowest costing unit, or lowest costing card that we've seen actually, that's not true, before I make myself incorrect on that. But anything you guys have to say on Grudge Bear?
I haven't really spent a lot of time, so it's really hard for me to give my opinion. I like Last Will a lot, but unfortunately Last Will belongs to the Crusaders and Warlocks, so
yeah, it's
don't see him getting abused in that direction. He's
yeah,
not going to be like a Last Will type thing.
yeah.
At least not yet. We don't know if there are coming. Might be something that opens up this floodgates. No different than how we saw, you know, the rise of Awakening, the red-green Awakened deck, when initially everyone just played, you know, blue, purple, red.
Red, purple.
Yeah, purple, red, purple, whatever. You see these specific archetypes between us. I'm really hoping, I'm hopeful that we see the floodgates get open. I don't want to see knights only be, you know, yellow-red. I don't want to see dwarves only be yellow-green. I want to see more color diversity.
Yeah. Monger, what about you? Anything on Grudge Bear?
Yeah, he's a solid 4-drop. He's definitely worth it already because of his attack and health. And then the Last Will is just kind of an added bonus. It's not always useful, because when he dies, for me, I usually only have like maybe 1 dwarf out on the field. But he still is a solid unit. Very good to remove some early game pushes. So yeah.
All right. And from that, we'll move into the next card, which will be Dino Rider. So, Dino Rider is an interesting card. For 5 gold, you have a neutral unit that's got charge at a 3/7 stat line and 3 movement. Now, the deck is a bit different. It is both a dwarf and a dinosaur, which is kind of interesting. If you guys watched Monger's video, you already would know what kind of dinosaur buffs that the dwarves can have. Not the dwarves, the dinosaurs can have on this guy. But with the spells that come out for dwarves, you'll see what kind of other powers you can equip on the Dino Rider. And you know, we talked about this in another video a few minutes ago. But any more kind of thoughts to put onto Dino Rider as it is? Because I think it's definitely a solid charging unit at best. Because it's going to survive like Jonviev. But
he might be okay. It's what's going to come down to is whatever the player decides to have in their deck. You know, if they need that 5 gold dwarf unit to make up for something so that they can have their spell curve run correctly, since we already, you know, we'll go over them. We've already stated that the dwarves work with spells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it probably is going to be more, you're going to see it in regards to that, as opposed to, I like this card because it's a good 5-drop. Because he has a place in Dinos. I'm not sure if he's going to be detrimental to your dwarf deck.
Yeah, like this card is very versatile, which is why I like it. Again, like everyone else said, the stats are bad at first, but then once he gets buffed up by Dinos things and also Dwarven things, it can help a lot.
Yeah. Definitely the buffs are going to be what turns this card around for most people.
Yes, definitely.
That seemed to be the trending theme in this set is the archetypes helping out their archetype to like the fullest extent.
Yeah, sort of like a fusion
The previous,
between the two.
With the, you know, we look at monsters. Monsters don't really help each other. They help out specific. They just kind of run like big grizzly bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys, when we look at the dinosaurs, they're kind of reliant on one. They're kind of bleh when you at first glance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we'll wrap it up on Dino Rider and then move on to the first dwarf spell of this archetype, if you will, is going to be Dwarven Greed. Now, Dwarven Greed's I mean, it's still it's like a merchant's favor for dwarves, but it's also a neutral, so it has much more, I guess, freedom than merchant's favor in terms of where you can throw it in color-wise. But it's essentially the same thing. You must have a dwarf in play, which is the main theme of a lot of dwarf cards you're going to be saying. They're all going to be, you must have a dwarf in play, which is definitely interesting. But, it's also sort of like if you don't have this dwarf in play, you're not going to be able to play the spell. Now, what do you guys think about that as a limit?
What's up? Yeah.
Oh. Monger, what about you? In the meantime.
Well, for Dwarf Greed, the reason why I like it is because this can honestly help bring back Craxus decks a lot easier. Because even though you're still only gaining 1 gold like Merchant's Favor, you're taking off 2 gold from the cost of Craxus. And it's also a neutral, so and Craxus is a neutral too, so you can really fit Craxus decks into almost any faction you want to.
So that does pretty well. Envy, what about you? Might be having difficulties over on Envy's side, which is alright because I had technical difficulties of my own right now. I'll be right back, folks.
Did your screen cut out again?
Yep.
I'm here. I hit the fucking mute button.
Always arise. But, well, with that being said, we're going to go take you guys right into the next Dwarven spell, which will be... So the next spell we have for you guys is going to be Dwarven Archives. Now, Dwarven Archives is a... Actually, let me get rid of the foil effect so you guys can actually see it. It's a 2 gold Crusader spell. Must have a dwarf in play, but you draw 2 cards. So basically, it's like almost like a little better version of Archive, Crumbling Archive, and it doesn't include the risk of Dragon Lore giving your opponent's cards. So, I mean, I like this card. Definitely a great include for dwarves. If you're on the fence, or even if you don't have Crumbling Archive, but you have this card and you're trying to make a dwarf deck, that's great to add in. I mean, you guys want to share your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a great card in a dwarf deck, assuming you're running yellow. But in my opinion, I think a lot of us have spent a lot of time obviously using dwarves in yellow because they utilize that Dwarf Paladin, which the dwarves, as you're about to find out, they help each other. Their spells buff everything, and that's something that they play to their advantage with. It's just a strong card because you're going to be dropping a lot of little dwarves, and you're going to need to refill that hand.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, this card, it might seem situational to you, but it's actually really easy to have a dwarf in play. This card usually never clogs up your hand. It's just a very useful card in general. I like it a lot.
Alright. So, Dwarven Archive is pretty straightforward. And with that, we will take you right into the next Dwarven spell. Dwarven Construction. So this card is, basically an example of dwarves buffing everything, like Envy said previously. Must have a dwarf in play. Your buildings and castle gain 3 health. So with a 12 health, definitely a little extra buff to get an extra 3 health onto the castle. Not to mention making cards like Archive last longer, Church survive longer, or any building that you may utilize in a deck. Makes it that much stronger.
It's so strong when you think about we're down to 12 health now. And when you start buffing up your castle along with your other buildings, making your archive last longer, or any other building that it's
Church for heal.
That's I don't think I did any play testing with it, but
I did a little bit.
Are the like the lava font, are those considered yours still?
No, obstacles are considered enemies to both players.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure if that would help out in that scenario. But, I mean, nonetheless, man, getting that +3 on your archive and castles, enough right there.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of a combo card, but it does come up. And even if you hit your castle, it's not heal your castle for 3.
You'll get the 15.
Gain the +3.
You'll get the 15.
Yeah.
You do go to 15 or you don't?
You do. You will go to 15.
That's what I was going to say. I swear that it was stacks as opposed to a
It
heal.
does.
Yeah, it's very good, very good. Now, something that I found out that is actually very interesting is, now I know nobody uses Wall Tower, but this card can actually make Wall Tower a little bit more viable than what it already is.
That brings
you know?
it to 11 health, doesn't it?
It brings it up to 12.
12?
Brings it up to 12 health.
Oh. That's...
So it's basically a castle protecting your castle.
Yo, guys, new deck. Winds of Nord,
I'm
Wall Tower, Dwarven Construction, Hidden Intent.
Oh yeah. I'm actually gonna make that deck. It's gonna be so lit.
You're welcome. Alright, now with that being said, we'll take you right to Dwarven Mithril. Now this is definitely a strong dwarf card. As you can see, it's a 3 costing spell. Must have a dwarf in play, but all your units gain 2 health. Now this isn't a healing effect. It's like Dwarven Construction, where it'll just add on to existing health. So it makes your units that much stronger. And again, this is all units. It's not just one unit. Every unit will buff up, so you can turn your army of zombies, you know, if you want to make a dwarf undead combo, if that's even on your mind, you can buff up all your zombies to have 4 health. The Acolyte has 4 health. Just, it makes it that much tougher to deal with. I mean, thoughts?
Yeah, it's very, very, very hard to do this as soon as somebody plays it. It's very frustrating. Let's say that it's very frustrating to deal with.
It brings life into the 2 movement cards because you're already probably slowly crawling up the field with your 2 movement, and then when someone hits you with that and it gives 3 to 4 units plus 2 health, you're gonna realize really quickly it's really annoying.
Cards like Paladin will jump up to 8
It doesn't
health.
seem super good, but seeing all these units just get buffed instantly, you're just like, wow, that means my units have to take an extra turn.
You guys
trying to
like
take a swing at that guy,
yeah, it's like
and
a
he's going
step
to get
up.
to move him again.
Mhm.
So allows them to tank that extra hit to move them into a correct position, or allow them to survive that advance down the field.
Monger, anything else? I mean, you were trying to add on to it before, but you know, anything else quickly?
Nope.
It's very useful to add into your decks. Like, even if you have like only like 5 or 6 dwarf in your deck, you will most likely draw the at least one dwarf, and so adding this into your deck is very useful, very helpful.
Well, with any combo cards, that player should be aware of what's in their deck, and if they need to hold on to combo pieces. It's just part of it.
Mhm.
It's a risk-reward system at that point.
Yeah. Alright, so with Mithril out of the way, we will take you into the next Dwarven spell. Next we have the Fist of Donek, something that I cannot pronounce. A 3 gold costing Viking spell, which again, sort of like Grudge Bear, it means that it means that dwarves can be spread a little bit into the Viking category. It is a focus spell dealing 6 damage to whatever target it lands on. But again, like all other cards, it must have a dwarf in play. Now, this is definitely a strong focus spell. You could see some experimentation with dwarves and focus, maybe with blue and another color. Who, he's unsure exactly what that color will be yet. Just judging on
build
what's
up
going
that
on.
quick TKO.
Yeah.
It is really strong.
Yeah, let's give Envy. Do you want to give a thought on that one? Because definitely.
I mean, the real question is, who is this Donek?
Yeah,
We
really.
should talk about him, but we don't know who he is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Taurus
Honest
all
to
over
God, though, I
again.
really want to know. When I see these names, and we're just like, who is this person? Like, the Fist of Donek. Donek has to be a badass. Otherwise, why would he have his own card?
Gonna bet you like $10. It's that guy riding the dragon-looking thing.
Do you think?
Oh.
Do you think that dragon thing that we're talking about? Do you think he's gonna be an undead dwarf? Because he kind of looks dead to me.
Yeah, true.
Well, the lit skeleton.
It's either
king
gonna
is
be a
definitely
dwarf dragon or an undead dwarf. I would have to agree with. That I think you are correct on who Donek is.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's just a matter of waiting. But over on the card in general, what I mean, do you guys have any like initial thoughts?
I'd be happy playing with that card. Super powerful card for a newer player, and I think it will see play.
It takes
the,
half the
top
castle
100
away.
players. It's going to be a TKO deck. I know our boy Yuri Zero is going to be all over that card.
Oh yeah. All right, Monger.
Yeah, the Fist of Donek, when I first saw this, I was like, okay, cool, another focus spell. I'm not going to use it because focus sucks. But, like, that's 6 damage for 3 gold. That's half your castle's health gone with only 3 gold. And I actually use dwarves. And so this focus card can actually be useful to me. And it's very, very strong. And I like it a lot.
Yeah, definitely a good card, and I would say maybe one of the more ones that people will be grabbing immediately right when the expansion launches. Just an opinion of mine personally. But with that being said, we'll take you right into the next Dwarven spell. Dwarven Weapons. Now, Dwarven Weapons is similar to Dwarven Mithril, except that it's giving your units +2 attack rather than health. It's a 4 gold as well, so a little more expensive in price, but again, still following the rule of must have a dwarf in play. I think with Dwarven Weapons and Mithril, it can get a little iffy. But what do you guys think on that one?
I like it better. I see people already play Harmonic Balance, so I wouldn't see why they wouldn't try and utilize this card.
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah,
backlash from your opponent.
See, I like Dwarven Weapons, but I would still personally Dwarven Mithril over weapons because Dwarven Mithril makes your guys last longer on the field.
For the most part, guys can hit hard enough in the game. It's the
Yeah.
survivability factor.
Yeah. Which
When
is why
when you can allow your opponent, or like when your opponent has to put 2 guys on another guy, it can cause a mistake due to positioning. When your guy can move down lane, that's what you want, and we already know decks utilize that. They just need to get downfield so they can connect with that E-Strike or with that focus spell.
Yeah. Pairing up with the Fist of Donek.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So, I mean, that's all we have on Dwarven Weapons. After we fix this technical mistake,
We pretty
that I
much
have-
just talk crap on weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're allowed to spit some.
It was just funny because we were like talking about weapons and why you should use it for a second, and then we're just like, you can use Mithril, it's way better.
Yeah. That's what happens. Sometimes other cards overshadow other cards. But
Yeah, it's true. Even
let
though
me
Blanche
fix
hates that.
this technical mistake, and then we will get into our next Dwarven spell.
Tunnel Escape,
I
dude.
love
is
doing this.
Oh, I almost forgot about
It's so
tunnels.
fun. Our next one will be... The next dwarf spell is going to be Tunnel Escape. Now, Tunnel Escape is a interesting multi-summon card. For 5 gold, to get 2 Dwarf Miners. Now, it seems very like, alright, I get 2 cards for 5 gold, but it's only 2, and they're both slow units. So, it's sort of like, you might need this to build up some dwarves, so that way you're okay to play your dwarven spells. But, I mean, what do you guys think about that? Anything?
I personally like it a lot because first of all I like dwarves, and second of all, it's basically an 8 and 8 unit that can get rid of anything that is pushing against your town hall like in the mid game, which is what I really like because like I always add a Grendel in my deck to get rid of anything like bigger that gets close to my castle before I can get any like late game units out. And this card will do that better than Grendel.
That is true. Envy?
Well, I mean, I'm not like, I don't think I'm not trying to bash on what you just said there. I look at like those units that drop a unit after they move down the field are a whole nother. So this is something that like fills a void in the dwarf decks. I think it's kind of a necessary thing. It doesn't seem that great, but I've been okay with playing it when I play dwarves because they pump up each other and you're trying to outmass so you can gain benefit from that mithril from the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both very good points there. Each to consider when you want to throw a tunnel escape into a deck. And with that being said, we'll move on to our final card of the video, which will be... And the final card this evening will be the Quest for the Holy Grail. Now, Quest is definitely an interesting card. It's got a lot of stuff going on within it. It's a 7 gold Crusader spell. It's a legendary, so you know it's got some big power behind it. And it certainly does. You can summon a Dwarf Paladin and 2 Questing Knights. For reference, I'm just going to bring up Questing Knights just in case you are unaware. Questing Knights are sort of like Paladins except for 2 gold. They're neutral. They're Knights, and they got a 3/3. Similar to Reckless Knights, but they are neutral, so they can be placed anywhere.
Do they have the Knight title on them?
Yes, they do. They do.
I just was curious if they had it or not.
So yeah, I mean, definitely, you're summoning 3 things for 7 gold. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
That's good value as far as bodies go. Trying to get if you're trying to catch up, or you just had a turn where things didn't go your way. Now you got to play defense. You need guys out there really quick. That's not too bad. Body blockers.
And even if you can hit maybe with the Paladin, get a heal going.
I haven't personally used the card yet. When you play this card, does it summon them somewhere specific, or is it
I haven't played that
so,
interaction either. I have to test that myself.
Yeah, I don't know how the guys get distributed because I have not used this card.
Yeah, so that's something to be seen. We'll probably go over it. Maybe post in a comment down below, like how the questing goes, just so you guys know where they come in from. But Monger, what do you got on this? Anything to add?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I like it because it's kind of a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's a great movie. But second of all, I like this a lot because, first of all, it's 7 gold. And a Dwarf Paladin and 2 Questing Knights altogether cost 7 gold. And so that means you're saving space in your deck by using this card instead of having 2 Questing Knights and a Dwarf Paladin. This can very much help out Knight decks a lot because it will get a bunch of Knights out onto the field. So that next turn you can play Luminaris for a late game hit, possibly a late game win. So yeah.
What about playability with on a Doom ship?
True. Very true.
I have to review that myself.
You should be ashamed of yourself for not thinking of that. I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, damn, what can I use this card with? That's not in my deck, and I knew that.
Alright, well, hold on there. We gotta save that for another video, because right now these guys don't know what's coming in yet. But that gives you something to look forward to, guys. So, with that being said, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. If you guys did enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like down below. Share it with your friends. And comment down below what you think of some of these dwarf cards heading into Cards and Castles July 27th. If you're new, hit that subscribe button because, you know, all you need to do to support the channel is just click that subscribe button. Thanks to my guests, Envy and Monger, for showing up.
Yep.
No
You
problem.
should subscribe to me too, just saying.
Yep, any plugs, you guys? I'll leave both channels that they run in the description. But you guys want to say anything else, you know?
I'm really looking forward to
I look
this.
forward to the new set. You know, I hope you guys do too. We've done a lot of work testing this stuff out. We hope people enjoy the content.
Definitely, and of course we will be releasing more and more for you guys so that you can make that nice transition, because it feels like an entirely new game. We're not going to lie to you. It's definitely going to be fun, and we hopefully...
Yeah, please,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I lost what I was going to say now, so go ahead.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say, you know, please don't think too hard about, you know, if you watch the video of the way the new setup is with the 12 health and whatnot. It looks scary at first, but we promise things are fairly balanced and it's a lot more fun. You know, no one likes going into OTK time, or not OTK, sudden death, and losing out because the other player's playing blue and has just giants that they have to deal with. You know, this opens the gates for so many more decks, so many more opportunities, It's going to be a good thing for the game. Once you guys give it a try, you're going to fall in love with it just like we did. We all had our complaints at first, and every single one of us changed the second we tried it.
Yep.
Yes, give this a chance. Don't give up immediately as soon as you see.
If you have questions about cards, we encourage everyone to ask.
Yeah, that's what the comment section is for,
We
guys.
test these things. We want to help everyone that wants to better understand the card that they might be confused about.
Yeah, and there's going to be more content releasing. There's going to be more within the next several days of just prepping for the expansion, showing you guys what we have to offer. Well, not what we, because we are not developers last time I checked, but what the game has to offer for a new beginning, if you will. So, with that being said, until next time, guys, stay gaming.